This episode of Film Pulse is brought to you by Spoilericity, spoiling the spoilers without spoiling you. Head over to spoilericity.com to check it out today. Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast, the official podcast of filmpulse.net. This is episode number 126. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today we have Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing okay.
I think I did that little Kevin.
He's in rare form today. Oh yeah.
This week we'll be reviewing Michel Gondry's latest, Mood Indigo, as well as the science fiction film The Reconstruction of William Zero, which is screening at this year's Fantasia Fest. And finally, we'll be going over this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand, and DVD and Blu-ray releases. First, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. I think it's my turn this week. I had a pretty decent week. I started off with Under the Skin.
Oh boy.
This is one that...
Oh boy.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it forever, and I just finally got around to it. It's out on DVD and Blu-ray right now, as well as video-on-demand services, directed by Jonathan Glazer. And I gotta say, I loved this movie. I loved every fucking minute of this movie.
Good. I did as well.
It is the way that they did, and I knew a lot about it going into it. Especially the striking visuals. I knew that that's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah,
it was, what I didn't know is just how entertaining this movie would be. I thought that it was going to be kind of one of these just super abstract, experimental, weird movies, and it is to a certain degree. But a lot of times with movies like that, Beyond the Black Rainbow comes to mind. For some reason, they kind of bore me sometimes. Like,
yeah,
sometimes I feel like bored because I don't know where it's going and I don't know what the purpose of any of it is.
it's one of those things that they kind of wear out their welcome after a while.
Yeah, right. But I didn't feel that with this. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I think that a lot of that has to do with the incredible score of this movie. It is tense. This movie, even the scenes where she's just driving around looking for dudes, is so tense. You're just like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
A lot of tension.
And I loved all the hidden camera stuff. I thought it was great. I have a hard time believing that a lot of that stuff was like real, like candid.
Apparently it is. You can sort of tell by the way the cameras are set up too. But
Yeah.
I do have a difficult time with people not knowing who Scarlett Johansson is.
Yeah, that was one thing, and I take it that that's one of the reasons they gave her that accent, which I didn't think she did a great job with the accent, but
I think she did a good enough job that it didn't take me out.
it didn't take me out. No, that's what I was just gonna say. That
But it
was kind of
was
a minor quibble.
it was kind of odd when like she finally spoke. I'm just like, why? Why did she have an accent?
Yeah, I think that they had to do that to try to mask her identity more, because it's not like they did crazy makeup to make her
No.
look different. She looks like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I have a hard time. You were able to find that many people.
I guarantee you that they drove around a lot and had a lot of people be like, hey, Scarlett Johansson.
I'd like
I guarantee
to.
it.
I hope that those are on the DVD.
I hope so
like
too.
deleted
That'd be
scenes.
awesome.
Guy's just hassling her.
But I mean, at one point, like, what are the odds that you're going to find somebody first and then have that interaction with them and have it work out the way you want it and then get them sign on to do what they do in this movie?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I think it helps that it's Scarlett Johansson.
yeah, but still, I wouldn't do that.
These guys are just like, let's do it.
I
I'm
wouldn't.
down for whatever.
I'd be like, no,
I know.
sorry. I'm not going to do full frontal in this movie and walk into a pool of black goo.
Oh man, those scenes though, the way that they did that is just
Those
is,
scenes were so
and then
incredible.
when they finally showed
What
underneath,
happens
yeah,
to
what
him
happens to
underneath?
him?
That
It's
stuff
just
looked so
it's
amazing.
just
I
incredible.
I just I can't say enough about this movie. I loved it.
Plus the ending. What did you think of the ending?
I thought the ending was great. The effects work in this movie is really good,
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
and I loved all the effects that they did there at the end. I thought it looked crazy.
I loved my favorite part of it is just the look on the guy's face and how they slowly
Mm-hmm.
swivel the camera around so you don't really know what the hell's going on, but you can tell by his face that it's majorly fucked up. And
Yeah,
it's just the tension in that little scene. It's like, oh my God, what is it? What is it? And then when you finally see it, you're like, wait a second. What's going
yeah.
on
We
here?
and
And
we talked a little bit about this earlier this week off the air when I first saw it, and
mm,
I think that this is a perfect blending of everything you like in a movie and everything I like in a movie, just, smashed together in this great, artistic, disturbing,
it's so
brilliant
it's
film. I
so
loved it.
it's so unsettling. But I think that that was the biggest benefit. Uh, gl- the what Glazer does with ambiguity in this movie is just perfect. It's like the perfect amount where he just leaves it open-ended for interpretation. Like you can go anywhere with this movie, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can come up with anything.
Yeah, yeah. You can come up with your own theories about
And now I just
what's
want
going
I
on.
want to watch it again. I want to
And
watch
it was
it right.
interesting because I knew what it was all about going into it. Like I don't know if that was supposed to be was that supposed to be like a twist?
What's that? What's
Like
there's
no, I
the
guess because
ending or
it says it in the synopsis
no?
too.
Yeah, no.
The,
The ending, I think is more of the twist,
that was
obviously.
yeah, that was interesting.
But
Either way,
it's cr
if you haven't seen it yet, I highly, highly recommend checking out Under the Skin. Like I said, it's available on pretty much any platform at this point, except Netflix. It's not on there yet.
No, it's not. I don't think Netflix can handle it, to be honest. Call them out. I watched something that is
Oh,
the complete.
sorry.
Oh, whoa, oh,
I just wanted to real quickly mention the scene with the baby is
that's. Uh,
really intense.
uh,
It is so I guess kind of it's a warning to people that this is a very intense, unsettling movie.
yes, that was extremely disturbing to just have that baby sitting there screaming and wailing.
Yeah. Either way,
Oh,
go ahead.
oh boy. I watched a movie that's the complete opposite of Under the Skin. The Weekend from
Ooh,
yeah, I did not know that this was the guy that directed like Notting Hill and Hyde Park on Hudson and Changing Lanes for some reason. He did that
Morning
movie.
Glory.
Morning Glory. Yeah, I didn't know that. The only thing I knew was Jim Broadbent's in it, so I immediately signed up because it's Broadbent. But for whatever reason, he's one of my favorite actors. And the way that this film is sort of, thrown out there trailer wise is that it's like this, marriage drama, but it's kind of lighthearted and fun. And it's really not. It's actually like extremely sad, but there are, bits and pieces of some fun loving comedy in there. And it's about, an old couple that have been married for a while and their marriage is falling apart. They go to Paris for sort of like to like rejuvenate their marriage, try and get it back on track. And it really doesn't go that well. And it's fantastic up until Jeff Goldblum shows up for some reason. He's like an old friend of Jim Broadbent, and everything after that point is just a mess. It just
Mm,
completely ruins the great feel that the movie had. It's, this wonderful realism to it, and it's just switching between all the different emotions, and it's doing it brilliantly. And then Goldblum shows up and just ruins everything. And it's not his fault. It's just he shouldn't have been there in the first place. It just ruins the entire movie because everything just gets contrived, extremely so, and then you just lose interest. So it was disappointing in that aspect. It's a really great movie up until that point.
mm.
But there's like I just love the chemistry between the two the two leads, Broadbent and Lindsay Duncan, they feel it feels so natural. It feels like this is a couple that's been married for as long as they have been. It's just again, unfortunately, it turns into a contrived mess once you throw Goldblum in there.
Once the old Goldblum craziness gets in there.
That's right.
Is he crazy in it?
He's
Is he Jeff Goldblum?
He's Jeff Goldblum. It's just Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum.
That's enough for me.
Yeah, it's I don't
I mean,
know.
I won't be checking this movie
I
out.
don't know
'cause
if Jeff Goldblum can play anyone else besides himself.
at this point, I don't think so.
I'm trying to go back through his, recent roles, and they're all Jeff Goldblum.
Which I'm perfectly fine
Yeah,
with.
I
Because I
enjoy
love
too.
it when he's on Portlandia and
Selling knots.
when he works with Tim and Eric.
When he's selling knots. For whatever reason, just the idea of Jeff Goldblum selling knots is the greatest thing in the world to me.
Yeah, the only other movie I saw from Roger Mitchell was Venus. That was the only one I saw.
Venus. Never heard.
Never saw Notting Hill. Never saw Morning Glory. Didn't see Changing Lanes. I might have seen Changing Lanes at some point. Yes, I did.
I did not. I have never seen any of his movies up until now.
I saw Venus in the theater, if you can believe that.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. I was playing it. It was playing at one of those, the independent cinema, and I just went to see it. I don't know why.
Hmm.
It was kind of. I think it got a lot of buzz at the time. Like Peter O'Toole, I think, was getting nominated for an Oscar or something for it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it had a lot of buzz.
And the odd thing for this movie is it really worked for me because it is a lot like My Marriage.
Hmm.
Like if you watch this, I am Jim Broadbent, essentially to a T. Like he acts exactly like me. It was kind of odd. It was really odd actually, because just every time he would do something, my wife would be like, "Oh my God, he's you."
I like to think of you as the Paul Rudd character in I Love You, Man. That's
So yeah, I'm a mixture of Jim Broadbent and The Weeknd, or at least that's how I'll be when I'm older, mixed with Paul Rudd from I Love You Man and Jim from The Office. That's my mathematical makeup.
Oh, I love it. I saw Dead Snow 2 this week. I was a big fan of the first Dead Snow. Now,
Is that like a marriage drama?
yeah, a marriage of sorts. A marriage of horror and comedy.
Oh, I like those marriages.
This is a great marriage of horror and comedy. So it picks up right after the first one. And the first one basically is kind of I don't want to say it's a spoof, but it's kind of a riff on just the zombie genre in general. It's about a group of friends that go into the mountains for a ski weekend, and they find a box of gold, and it turns out that it's Nazi gold. And when they take the gold, it resurrects a platoon of Nazi zombies.
Okay, so the gold is tied to Nazi zombies.
Yeah, they steal their gold,
Gotcha.
and it brings them back, and they just get killed one by one, and there's one survivor. And as it turns out, in this one, towards the end of the first one, he has to cut his own arm off.
Oh,
Similar to Evil Dead. There's a lot of Evil Dead references in the first one.
gotcha.
And so he has to cut his own arm off. He gets away. It picks up. He's in the hospital in this one. Turns out the doctors thought that the arm that was located in he crashes his car at the end. And it turns out that he cut the arm off of a zombie, or it got severed because it was like hanging on his car as he was trying to get away.
Oh no.
And it got cut off. The doctors thought that it was his
no.
arm. So
Oh,
they
jeez.
put the zombie arm on him.
Oh jeez.
And it ends up giving him superpowers, basically. He has
Fantastic.
super strength, and he has the ability to resurrect dead people.
Wow.
And what they do with that in this movie is incredible. Everything in this is cranked up to 11. Everything about it one-ups everything that was in the first one. There's
Yeah.
tons more zombies. It is ridiculously over the top, gory and bloody and horrific. And it is so much fun. They are even less serious in this one than in the first one. Like everything, like they don't take anything seriously. It is all just like there's a scene where the zombies go to this World War II museum and they find a tank. And in order to get the tank running, they find a tourist and they disembowel him and they take his intestines and siphon gas out of a car using intestines to fill the tank with gas. Then they take the tank and run it to this like small village that's nearby. And there's a scene where it shows like a bunch of kids playing in a sandbox and they run them all over with the tank.
Oh my goodness. So not only they're resourceful zombies.
And then the funny thing, they're smart zombies, like they're intelligent.
These are intelligent Nazi zombies.
And it's called here in the state, I think they retitled it Dead Snow Red versus Dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they discuss it in the trailer, but basically what he does to fight this army of Nazi zombies is he creates his own army of Russian zombies.
Oh my goodness.
and it's like this all-out zombie war. It is incredible. There is one aspect of this movie that brings it down, and that's that they introduce these 3 American characters into it. And because at one point he's kind of on his own at first, and he's just like, I don't know how I'm going to fight these zombies on my own. I need help. And he looks online and he finds this like zombie hunter society or whatever. And it's 3 Americans. One of them's played by Martin Starr.
Okay.
From Silicon Valley. And they come over, and this is a Norwegian film. And they help him, but it's just so pointless to add them. Like, I don't know why they were in the movie at all. They weren't funny. Every time it would cut to them and their little story, I would be bored and just want to go back to the main guy. His name's Martin in the movie. Because all his stuff was great and he was really funny. But all the American stuff was terrible. Which is really unfortunate. I don't really know why. Like, maybe they were trying to put the Americans in there to market it more in this country.
Make it a little more appealing.
I think that's what it is. Because the director, Tommy Wirkola, he is the same guy that directed that Hansel and Gretel movie with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Sometimes you just got to get that Martin star power in there. Really elevates your movie.
Well, I like Martin Starr. I think he's really funny.
Him too.
But his character in this movie just wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, I highly recommend Dead Snow 2. It is super fun. It is crazy and over the top. I will have a full review for this up on the site soon.
I've been wanting to see the first one for a while.
Yeah, I believe the first one's still on Netflix, so
I think it's about time I take care of that.
Yeah, the first one's really fun too. This one's more of an action movie than a horror movie. The first one kind of focuses more on the horror elements, where they're in a cabin, in a remote cabin, they're being hunted by these Nazis, picked off one by one. In this one, it's just like all out craziness. It's not really scary unless copious amounts of blood and gore scare you.
Do they have a because you said that he makes his own army of Russian zombies. Is there like a montage where he gets like his ragtag group together?
Not really. Not really. Because the way that it works is they're all the Russian zombies they're all buried in like a mass grave, and he brings them all back at once. But there is a wheelchair zombie in this.
I love that people are getting on board with this wheelchair zombie.
Well, what happens is it's a wheelchair person and they get killed, and then he brings them back as a zombie and they're able to walk again. But throughout the movie, it's kind of like a running gag where this one person keeps getting killed over and over. Like, they get run over by the tank, they get stabbed and shot, and he keeps bringing them back over and over again. Like, there's a scene where they get stuck in the mud. Their car gets stuck in the mud, and they need to stick something under the tire for traction. So they put the guy, the zombie, underneath the tire for traction. And then as soon as they get the car unstuck, they bring him back to life.
Oh my goodness.
It's ridiculous.
This sounds like a fun time.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. Can't recommend it enough.
I watched Cronenberg's Scanners.
Oh, Scanners.
I promised it last week and I delivered.
You did deliver.
Watched some Scanners.
But did the movie deliver?
It did not. This was highly disappointing. I was all ready to go. I got myself extremely pumped for Scanners.
Well,
I was just expectations were high going into this one, and man, did it fall flat. You got two aspects that work brilliantly. The practical effects are absolutely amazing. There's no denying it. They're amazing. And the music, I thought the music was fantastic. Really added a lot that wasn't there, unfortunately. And I especially loved the artwork of the Benjamin Pierce character, the deranged scanner that sort of fends it off by channeling into his artwork. I enjoyed that, but everything outside of that is just awful. Stephen Lack is, I feel bad, but he is just terrible. He is absolutely awful in this movie. To the point where, like, every time he would say a line, I just laughed. I would just laugh. Now, Ironside, on the other hand, I thought he was great.
He's always great.
I thought he was fantastic. He was the only one in this movie to me that felt like a professional actor. Everyone else was just amateurs. And the story is awful. It's so bad. And at first I thought, like, oh, okay, this is going to be kind of tongue-in-cheek. But he seems to take it very seriously throughout, which I think really hampers it because it's such a laughable plot and it's so poorly developed. I mean, just 2 seconds thinking about it, you just find yourself with a plethora of plot holes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's terrible. I saw this movie not very long ago for the first time, and I remember almost nothing about it.
Yeah, it's such a great premise. It just feels like there's so much that you could do with this, and they really did nothing with it.
I mean,
they're like, what are the motivations for these people? Like, Ravik wants to start, he's creating new scanners that are even more powerful than he is. Why? Why would you do that? That renders you useless.
I don't know.
They're going to take over, and you're going to be shit out of luck because they're going to kill you right off the bat. And then if you have a whole world of scanners, what good does that do? Everyone's a scanner, and they probably all just immediately go crazy because there's never silence because you're just scanning constantly. And there's no reason to scan because you can all scan. No one has a one-up on another person. It's pointless.
It's true.
It's fucking pointless. And then they throw in twists and stuff, and it's just like, oh my God, they do it so terribly, and it's laughable, and it's just awful. But a guy's head does explode, so you got that.
That's like the famous scene. The head exploding.
Which, I mean, that whole scene is, if you just think about that for a second, the thought process behind it and how it fits in with the plot is just terribly executed.
I think that, like, generally this is one of Cronenberg's more popular movies, but it's certainly not one of my favorites of his.
Yeah. And I mean, I honestly, if you take the head exploding scene out of it, would people like it that much? Because that's all I saw. Like, when I'm going through and, because I didn't really like it, obviously. So, like, I'm looking through and I'm like, why do people hold this in such high regard? And that's all I find is people just like, oh my God, the guy's head explodes. It looks amazing. And it's like, that scene lasted like 5 seconds. This movie, there's so much more going on that's not good, except for I did enjoy the end. The way that they did that and how they ramp it up with the music and everything and how his eyes just go white.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. And I wish that it just stopped there. But then they add some stuff on the end of that just renders it useless. And when he was plugged into the computers from the phone booth, that
Hmm.
entire scene when they, self-destruct it, that was amazing. Just those three things. Everything else I thought was terrible.
I think you should check out Shivers.
Shivers.
That's one of my favorite. That was Cronenberg's first movie.
Okay, I'm gonna go Shivers and The Brood next. These are my next two.
I really wasn't that into The Brood. It was okay, I guess.
I like the idea of the I just like the idea behind it.
It's okay.
It's interesting to me. Hopefully it's better than Scanners.
You also have to see Naked Lunch. That was another one that
I do want to see that as well. There's a lot of Cronenbergs that I need to see. I think I've only seen two.
I, s-
Scanners
I saw
and
19.
Cosmopolis.
I saw
I
19
didn't
of his movies.
I didn't like either one. But man, those I miss practical effects so much. They're so much more fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I agree.
They're just amazing. Amazing people that sat around and tried to come up with ways to make heads explode and to make it look real. Like how is that not the best job in the world?
I agree. I completely agree. Any movie that has practical effects gets bonus points for me immediately.
Correct.
I think I even mentioned that in my upcoming Dead Snow 2 review, that a lot of the effects work in that movie is practical, and that
Look,
will get
bring it.
bonus
Yeah.
points.
I want to see a huge comeback. Get away from
I
those computers.
It's
Get away
funny.
from.
It's funny because like I feel like we are seeing more practical effects, but then I'm gonna use this to transition to my next movie. Like I just saw The
Ooh,
Purge Anarchy this week, and very little practical effects in that. Like CG blood everywhere, and it
oh,
looked
yeah.
terrible. So
Hmm.
The Purge Anarchy. This is actually people were liking this movie, but I did not.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know. Like I think that people were just hoping that it would be just better than the first one, and it is.
And it,
So
it is, so people are they're
they're just
taking that.
relieved, I
They're
think.
just, they're just taking that and going with it.
the The thing is, there's like five movies built into one here.
Okay.
So where the first one didn't do enough with the concept of the Purge Anarchy does too much. There's five characters in this movie, and there's three separate storylines that converge. And none of the characters are interesting. They're all completely flat. And it plays out sort of like The Warriors,
Okay.
like a dumbed down version of The Warriors, where these five different people, they all happen to be stuck outside during the purge,
Oh, that's
and
the worst place to be during the purge.
they find each other and get together and protect each other, and they try to just survive the night. So they're kind of, and then they're having like these different groups of people that are purging, kind of hunting them and trying to kill them. But then,
Uh,
but then there's this whole separate plot line involving this kind of militant group that's rising up against the purge, and it's like led by Omar from The Wire, and it's just it's so weird. It's like there's multiple movies built into one, and it doesn't work to me. It just doesn't gel, because towards the end there's this whole sequence where like they're being hunted by these rich people, and it turns into surviving the game. But then like the revolutionaries come, and there's too much. The political overtones in this movie are
whoa,
really
whoa. They're
overt.
they're trying to put. Wait, he tries to throw in some political commentary
Oh yeah.
into the purge anarchy.
It's all about,
Oh
and
God.
they hammer you over the head with it. It's all about the 99% versus the 1%, and how
Oh
the
jeez.
government secretly designed the purge to sort of cleanse the lower class, because they know that the lower class people can't afford, they're in worse neighborhoods, and they can't afford these high-tech security systems to keep them safe.
What?
And it's a way, and there's more that goes into that. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's more to it than that.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That
And they
sounds
just
all types
and
of terrible.
there's an entire subplot that revolves around two of the characters are mother and daughter, and the mother's father does something in the movie near the beginning that feeds into this idea, and
Mm,
it's completely unnecessary. And a lot of this movie could have been trimmed down.
yeah. You know what I would do if I lived in the Purge? I would have a business that just cleaned up dead bodies. You know how much fucking money you would make? Like the day after the Purge?
Oh yeah,
My God, you'd be raking it in.
oh yeah. I'm sure there probably are companies that do that.
I mean, it would be a mess.
Oh yeah.
But man, you would be so busy.
But again,
You would be busy the whole way up until the next Purge.
I
More
will
than likely.
I will say that it is better than the first one. It's slightly more entertaining. It's certainly more ambitious than the first one, and it is pretty much what I wanted in the first one, but there just wasn't enough of it. There's this great montage. They show part of it in the trailer where the sirens go off, and you hear these kind of ominous sirens everywhere. And then
Okay.
they do this montage of these just crazy groups gearing up, loading their weapons, and it's all done in slow motion. And all that looks really good, and it had me like really pumped. I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
man, these people are fucked." But then like they don't really capitalize on it because it's really only two groups that go after the survivors or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. Hmm. This just sounds all sorts of weird to
I
me.
keep I keep comparing it
This
to the
sounds.
Warriors because it is very similar to that.
Do they throughout the movie? Do they cut? Do they ever just randomly cut to a guy just like sitting on his couch eating Cheetos, watching TV? Like to give you another viewpoint of the purge.
No.
Because I'd like to just think of that one guy that's just like the purge is just like any other day. He's just sitting home eating Cheetos and watching Cartoon Network.
No, they don't really do that.
It seems like this movie would be more fun if it was tongue in cheek
Maybe.
and not with socio-political overtones.
I kind of expected it to be a little more violent. I'm just desensitized because I watched so many incredibly violent
It does
movies.
it does sound kind of disturbing. You talking about the purge like, oh, they're gearing up and they're getting ready to kill people, and I'm so amped, and there's just not enough blood.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
you
I'm a
you need to
monster.
talk. You need to talk to somebody.
I'm a monster. What
You
can
need
I
to
say?
get.
Well, with the movie called The Purge Anarchy, you expect anarchy. You expect it to be crazy and violent and over the top. And yeah, there are certain scenes of violence. I mean, it's not like it's not a kids movie, but I don't know. I guess I expected more.
Mm, fair enough. Fair enough.
And there's like so many things that happen in this movie. It's ridiculous. It's like there's a whole thing with the rich people. They go to their friend's apartment, and then there's a whole sequence that happens in there, and then they're trying to get away from the government and this other group, and it's just so packed with stuff.
Jam-packed with stuff.
Yeah, I
It
just
kind of sounds like they overcompensated
I think yeah. I mean that's
from the
exactly
first
what
one.
it is. That's exactly what they did.
I wonder if it was kind of like mean-spirited too. Like everyone was bitching about the first one, so they're like, well, "Fuck you guys.
Uh,
We're just gonna jam pack it with stuff."
I don't know. I think it's doing very well at the box office, and I think it has like a 50 something on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's pretty. I was bored by it, honestly,
Which
but
I think is the last thing you want with a movie called The
but
Purge
I think a
Anarchy.
lot of people are liking this. So if you liked the first one, you'll definitely like this one because it's way better.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. I do have
Yeah.
a full review of this up on the site.
All right. So if I had to pick between The Purge and Planes, Fire, and Rescue, which one should I see?
I don't know. I didn't see Planes, Fire, and Rescue, but uh, I'd go with the Purge.
Or Sex Tape? I could see Sex Tape.
I'd probably still go with the Purge.
God.
Well, I mean, I did. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I could have seen any one of those three movies, and I chose the Purge.
Oh boy. Speaking of movies that you expected more out of, Mean Streets. Martin Scorsese,
I never saw
Mean
this.
Streets.
I
I
never saw
didn't,
this.
I did, apparently I haven't either, which I was kind of surprised to find out that I have not seen Mean Streets. I don't know how that happened, but apparently it did, and I rectified it this week. So this is the first time Scorsese works with De Niro.
Mm-hmm.
And holy shit, they just unleashed De Niro in this movie. He just balls to the wall, just goes off, and it's unbelievable to watch. Now, the first half of the movie is, to be quite honest, it's just really boring. It's, Little Italy, these small time gangster thugs or whatever the hell they want to call them, essentially just walk around Little Italy, finding people that owe them money, talk about other people that owe them money. They themselves owe people money, and it's just nonstop dialogue about people owing other people money. And it is, oh my God, it's irritating. It's nauseating almost. It's because that's all they talk about for like the first half of the movie. And you just want it to do something. You want it to go somewhere. And on top of that, the camera work isn't really that great either. There's nothing really holding you in outside of, De Niro being De Niro. And for whatever reason, something happens like halfway through. It just completely flips. It's almost as if Scorsese like realized it and was like, fuck it, let's do everything. Let's just experiment the hell out of this movie. And it multiplies in how interesting it becomes. Because I was completely not into it at all. I was like, wow, this is an extremely disappointing movie. And then all of a sudden it just flips. And I'm like, holy shit, this movie is amazing. Just all the camera work just becomes incredible. Handheld tracking shots. And then he would just flip the point of view like mid conversation and then start up with tracking shots from the new point of view. He would have cameras tilted upwards, downwards. Harvey Keitel gets drunk at a party, so they strap the camera in front of him, and he sort of just stumbles around while this ridiculous song plays by the Chips, which you should make the outro music because that song is unbelievable.
Okay.
It's so ridiculous. It's something biscuit.
I'll find it.
Yeah, you find it because it's unbelievable. And De Niro just goes absolutely crazy. He owes people money and he doesn't care that he owes these people money. And he starts throwing explosives around New York City. He's just shooting guns at people and places. He loses it. He just becomes unhinged and it's unbelievable to watch. So, first half of the movie, kind of terrible. Second half of the movie, unbelievable.
Hmm.
I just wish that the second half was the entire movie, and then it would have been great. Because the story it's just really pointless, to be quite honest. I mean, De Niro owes people money, and he's not paying them back. That's the gist of it. And various other people owe other people money, and then those people owe other people money, and you just don't care. Because why do they keep giving money to these people? They're never getting paid back.
Hmm.
Stop lending money. I don't get it.
I don't know.
So I highly recommend that one. Just to see De Niro. De Niro just killing it left and right. Harvey Keitel's pretty good in it too.
I will see that someday. Someday.
It's quite good.
All right. Do you have any others you wanted to mention?
I do not know.
Okay. Before we get into our first review, I want to thank our sponsor this week, Spoilericity. You can go to spoilericity.com. Now, Kevin, how often have you been apprehensive in watching a trailer because you don't want it to give anything away?
All the time.
Let's use Under the
I don't-
Skin. Under the
I
Skin as
don't
an
I
example.
don't
Like,
I don't watch trailers.
you're worried. You're worried that I don't want to have this trailer spoil the movie. And I think that that's a really big point of contention nowadays because each movie has like 5, 6, 7 trailers. And by the
There's too
time you
many
see
trailers.
all of them, you've seen like 30 minutes of the movie. And there's movies like The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a great example where there's part of that trailer is the last scene in the movie.
Whoa.
Now, when you see the trailer, you take it out of context and you don't really realize that it's a spoiler. But if you're concerned about that, then Spoilericity is the site you want to go to. So how this works is you head over to spoilericity.com and they have a list of tons of trailers on here, and you can take a look to see it gives a percentage rate on how bad this trailer spoils the movie. And they use this algorithm called a spoiler-gon, and it kind of tells you what kind of spoilers are in this trailer. And if you see a movie, you can go onto the site and submit the spoilers for that trailer and let other people know this is a safe trailer to watch, this is not a safe trailer to watch.
Okay.
So, for instance, Mood Indigo, which we're about to talk about, that's at a 56% spoiler rating for the trailer.
So that means that it contains some spoilers.
It contains more spoilers than not. So you might want to be a little apprehensive about watching the trailer for Mood Indigo. Now, if you click on it, it shows you kind of when it shows the spoiler-gon thing, it kind of has different areas that might be spoilers. And in this one, main character arcs. That's kind of what it's heading towards, which I would agree. I just watched the trailer for Mood Indigo, and I would agree that some of the main character arcs in the trailer could be looked at as spoilery.
That's a tough job. You gotta watch all those trailers.
Well, that's the beauty of the site, is that it's user driven. So you see a movie. You see a trailer for this movie, and you're like, okay, that's a safe one, and you just go on the spoilericity.com, rate it, and say this is a safe one to watch, this isn't a safe one to watch, and let other people know.
There you go. Okay.
Yep.
Now I know how it works.
Yeah, they have it. So just head on over to spoilericity.com. That's spoilericity.com, and start watching some trailers and rating some trailers. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our first review of the day, Mood Indigo. This is the new film by Michel Gondry. Draft House Films is putting this bad boy out.
Fucking Draft House Films.
Killing it left and right.
Wrecking shop.
This
year.
So this is currently playing in limited release right now. I have a synopsis here. Wealthy, inventive bachelor Colin endeavors to find a cure for his lover Chloe after she's diagnosed with an unusual illness caused by a flower growing in her lungs.
Correct. Yes.
So you have a review for this up on the site. I did not read it because I knew that we were going to be reviewing it. I did see the score though, so that pretty much indicates how you feel about this. So I'll start it off. Now, I like Michel Gondry's work. Pretty much everything that he's done I liked. I wasn't a big fan of Sound of Sleep?
Science of Sleep?
Science of Sleep, sorry. I wasn't a big fan of that one. It didn't hold me. I don't know, the story didn't grab me. However, this one, from the beginning, and I think it's interesting that we're discussing this movie because last week we talked about the Zero Theorem, and I think that it's interesting that we're doing these kind of back to back because a lot of the things I liked about Zero Theorem were the reasons that I liked this movie. Only in this movie, they take everything I liked about the Zero Theorem and amp it up like 100%. So this movie will probably cause my score on Zero Theorem to drop.
Ooh,
but
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's also interesting because I was writing down as I was watching this. I was like trying to jot down notes and of specific things that I liked, and it got to be I had to stop doing it because there were so many things that I was just tired of writing.
Yeah. Yes.
This is from the onset. As soon as it starts, you realize that this is not going to be a movie for everyone, and it is not going to be the kind of movie that is really grounded in any kind of reality.
No, because let's be honest, fuck reality.
The whole thing is
kind of boring.
The whole thing feels like a dream.
Yes.
It's like the whole movie is basically a dream.
Yeah, it's like a surrealism fantasy world.
The opening reminded me of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, actually.
I didn't think of that. Now that you say that. It does feel a
It
lot like
reminds
that.
me a lot of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Even like the dancing and the shoes and all that stuff. They're just, I
Yeah.
think that there were a lot of shades of Pee-wee in there.
Shades of Pee-wee.
I also feel
Uh,
like this is going to be a review where it's just us talking about the specific shots and special effects that we liked. Because that's what happens. I noticed that like in comedies, we just
yeah,
read off lines that we
we
liked,
kind of
and
we kind of devolve into just quoting the movie.
well, because at the end of the day, we're just
That's all it was.
nerdy little fanboys who get
Yeah.
excited over things like you know stop motion and stuff like that.
Yeah, walking tables.
And
How do you not get excited about walking tables? Come on.
so I don't think I liked it as much as you, although I did like it a lot. You gave this a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
This is the second 10 out of 10 this year. So this is up there where so far I'm flipping back and forth of what my favorite movie of the year is. Is it Mood Indigo, the carefree love story, or The Raid 2, where people kick and punch each other for 2.5 hours?
Well,
S- ugh.
I think that they're both amazing achievements in their own way.
I just love how my two top films of the year are complete opposites.
Well, this
So if I'm like in a romantic mood, Mood Indigo would be my number one. But then if it's, the next day I feel like kicking and punching people,
mhm.
the Raid 2 is my number one. It's kind of how it works.
So I take it that the big draw for you, the reason for your 10 out of 10 has to be the visuals in this movie.
It's half visuals
Only
and
half.
well, yeah, half visuals and half of the story. But then the way that the two are tied together is really what did it for me. The way that, as the story
The
progresses,
visuals really complement
yes,
what's happening.
the way that the love story develops and goes through all of its different stages and how the visuals are affected by what stage they're at in the love story. I just thought that was brilliant. The way that he executed that is just unbelievable.
I will agree. I felt the story was a bit lacking. I wasn't really that interested in the story. The like their courtship and their marriage and all of that stuff felt very rushed to me. Like it felt
Mhm.
like they just got through that part of their lives really quickly.
Yeah,
And this is a movie that I feel when you sit back and look at it, it covers everything that could possibly happen in a relationship.
pretty
It's
much.
everything from beginning to end. I mean, you have money problems, you have illness, you have, the carefree, happy-go-lucky days of
Yeah,
dating and how that feels when you first meet that person and fall in love and then,
Would
what happens at the
yeah,
end.
which is what I love about how I was saying earlier about how he ties in the visuals to it. Because during that whole beginning portion, the honeymoon phase and the
Right.
young puppy love and everything's just bursting with imagination. It's just
Colors
the
everywhere, very warm
colors everywhere.
lighting.
Yeah, everything's just happy-go-lucky. It's just nonstop. And then, as the love story starts to shift and starts to get more serious in tone, you start losing more and more of that color,
Well,
and
yeah, I
just
don't think.
the
Yeah,
creativity sort of disappears a little bit. And I just loved that whole transition, the way that he did that.
I
I
don't think
thought
it's
was
a big
brilliant.
spoiler to say that the entire end of the film is black and white.
Yeah, it's slowly like morphs into like sepia tone and then moves to black and white. It's just the way that he did that because you almost don't notice it at first until you're into it a little bit deeper. You're sort of like, oh yeah, what happened to all the happiness and the color? Where'd
Well,
that go?
that's interesting because I noticed it right away. Like I
Oh,
was,
oh,
it was to me it was a little bit too on the nose. I
okay.
found it to
Pardon me.
be a little bit jarring.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it's for me. At least I didn't notice it first.
yeah. For some reason, I
But
don't know, but
maybe
it wasn't a negative though. Like I do want to
we,
preface that. Like I noticed it, but it wasn't a problem. I liked what they did with
now
that.
another thing that could be the reason for that is because maybe I was invested more in the story
Could be. That's
than you were,
probably
because
what it
you did
was.
say, yeah, because you did
Because
say that you weren't really into the story
and
as
that's
much.
yeah, that's the interesting thing is I was focusing on trying to pick out all the little things because this is a movie that
It's
is
just
cluttered with stuff going on. And
yeah, it's everywhere.
I can see that being a problem for some people
It was
because
it
it
actually was for me a little bit in the beginning. Like it was a bit jarring at first because it's just like
oh,
nonstop.
it's so
Like one
yeah.
one sight gag after another after another after another and experimental camera work and it was just like, whoa, man, calm it down.
Yeah. And at one point at the beginning I was okay with it, but maybe 20 or 30 minutes in, I started to get tired. And I was like, "Oh my god." Like
It's exhausting.
I
It's like
cannot I am exhausted at this point.
it's
Like,
it's kind of it's like the movie form of like a 5-year-old, like
yeah.
a rambunctious 5-year-old. Like this kid is so awesome, and then 20 minutes later you're like, holy shit, this kid doesn't stop.
Yeah. I just wanted to take a nap. Like halfway through this movie, I just needed a nap because it was too much. It was like Michel Gondry took a bunch of speed and was like, "You know what? Every single idea that comes into my head is going in this movie. It is
Do it.
gonna be everything." But that being said, it was astounding to see some of the stuff in this movie. Like the inventions and how everything was done practically. And you're just like, how the hell did they do that? It looks incredible. I was just blown away by a lot of the visual elements of this movie.
I enjoyed, yeah. It's just like you said, it's just nonstop. How the fuck did he pull that off? How did he do that?
Yeah. I mean,
Crawling doorbells and walking tables and
yeah, it's like
yeah.
he uses like projections and he makes these crazy contraptions and mechanical things and he's got stop motion in there and I mean it was just I read something on IndieWire that said that the what's it called, the piano cocktail,
Yeah.
they actually made that, like
Yeah.
that was a real thing and he said it took them several months to figure out how to get that to work.
See, that's what I love. I love that dedication to imagination.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
just unbelievable.
it was great. I love the walking doorbell creature thing.
Yeah, it's just I've been wanting, and this is what I love about Gondry, is occasionally I want like nothing but imagination and creativity. I just want someone to go wild, and he does, and he just the way that he does it is unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But then not only that, the way that he shifts it later on, taking it into the more serious
It yeah, and this
mood, it was like, oh shit,
it does
man,
get
this
dark.
movie has everything. This movie gets really
It gets
dark.
really dark and I didn't see it until they were at the the ice rink scene when it people start dying and
Well,
it's like and there's
that's
like
what
blood all over the rink and they're skating through the blood.
that's what I love about this movie is because they're so in love that they don't even notice that stuff.
Yeah.
They're just completely ignorant of it. I mean, people are getting shot in the face. There's people being crushed and run over. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
I like how he got a job at heating ray gun parts.
Yes.
That whole thing, I was just like, what the hell is this?
And making chromed carrots
Yeah.
was the other guy's job, being the foreman, where a lot of people die there
Oh,
as well.
very disturbing scene.
Gruesome, very gruesome. And it's interesting because I don't know how familiar you are with Boris Vian, who this is based off of his
Right.
novel, Fault
Yeah.
of the Daydream. And all that stuff is in Vian's novel, like the piano cocktail, and he's such a surrealist writer. He makes all these crazy contraptions, and it was beautiful to see Gondry being the one that brings all of it to life because I think he did a perfect job of it. I don't think there's really anyone else that could do this. Now,
Yeah.
I've not read Fault of the Daydream. The only one I've read is Heart Snatcher, which it was cool to see a Heart Snatcher in action.
Mm-hmm. I love The Office with the typewriters on the track. That
Oh yeah, like
it
the
just looked so
conveyor belt
cool.
of
I loved that. And one of my favorite things that they did was towards the end when I don't want to give anything away, but something happens and she's laying in bed and it looks like it's a projector that's projecting a specific image on the wall, and he uses strings to mimic the light,
oh
the
yes.
rays of light that the projector goes through, and it looks so good. I was just like, holy shit.
It's that was one of my favorite parts too, the Rays of Sunshine, and how like in the beginning they were, they were playing it like music, like a stringed
Mm-hmm.
instrument and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. That was fantastic. And the one scene where they're trying to have like a conversation, and the Ray keeps trying
Yeah.
to like hit her in the head, and
And he
she
has to
batting
shoo
it
it out
away.
of the way. Yeah. I like that. I did not like anything with the mouse. Not into any of that.
The
Didn't
mouse
work.
was a
Didn't work
bit
for me.
much. He was a bit much.
Yeah, that stuff didn't work for me.
I did love Omar Sy. I thought Omar Sy is unbelievable in this movie, and the way that he would clean up the table. I
Just
don't know
shoving
why.
everything on the floor.
Just squeegee it right off onto the floor. All the dishes break. For whatever reason, that just made me. I just lost it
And I
every
think
time.
sometimes it was on like a conveyor belt, wasn't it? Wasn't the
Yeah,
table on like
he would just hit it off. Enjoyed that.
he plays Bishop in the new X-Men movie.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
he's good in it.
Oh shit.
The other person in this movie, Gad
MLA?
Emily
Sure. I have no idea.
plays
I
his
enjoyed
friend
him.
Chick.
He was obsessed with what is it, John Soul part
Yeah,
instead of Jean Paul Sartre.
yeah. And now he creates what's he trying to do? Create like he creates a pill where you hear it in your head.
Yeah, he's trying to get he's obsessed with the work of part, and he wants to get every single thing he can get his hands on. And it comes in various different ways. Prescription form and pill form. At the very end, he's inhaling it as a vapor. It's like in steam form.
That guy, I like that guy. He's like really famous over in France. I don't know if you remember. He was on Comedians in Cars getting coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he actually did the voice in the French dubbed version of Bee movie.
Oh,
He
okay.
did the voice of Seinfeld's character, the Bee.
Ah, I gotcha. Oh man, we're learning so much.
Yeah, they call him. He's the French Jerry Seinfeld. Like
Well,
apparently his
now
comedy is similar.
Well, now I need to see everything he's ever done because I thought he was fantastic in
Yeah,
this.
yeah, he was great.
I pretty much enjoyed everyone, but much like you, I think the only one I really didn't like was the mouse. I don't know if it's not really the guy's fault
No, it
that played the
wasn't. It
mouse.
wasn't like the acting. I just didn't like. They show it a lot. Like the mouse is a pretty big character in this movie, and just a lot of times it wasn't. It just didn't do it for me. One of the other scenes that I liked a lot was the X-ray. The scene with the X-ray.
Yes.
That effect was really cool looking. But
I
again,
liked every scene.
yeah, again,
I'm just gonna throw that out there. I liked
I
every
could list
scene
off. I could probably list off a
right there.
hundred things, a
All of
hundred
it.
special effects shots and different things in this movie that were great. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about is this movie is not being very well received by critics, and
Hmm.
I was gonna
Hmm.
ask what you think the reason behind that is and what your take on that is.
Uh, I don't know. Like you said, it's definitely not a film for everyone. And if it kind of depends on what you expect out of movies, like where it lies. Like if you're a guy that's really, a man or a woman that's really into the narrative aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see people not liking it that much. But me personally, and you know this, is that I just want creativity. Just hands down, I just want it everywhere. And I'd love to see it because I think that that's what film is for in the first place. I don't think it's really for storytelling. I can get that from novels. So that's what immediately hooked me and made me absolutely love it. It was just, seeing all this stuff play out on screen. I was giddy like a little kid. But I actually thought the story was fantastic and how he worked with it and where it went and the emotions that he was able to get out of it. Now, it's I can see people not enjoying it because of how surreal it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people for the most part aren't really into surrealism.
Yeah, I
So
think.
I would say that that's the biggest factor.
Yeah, I don't. I don't understand that though. Like, and I did look at Rotten Tomatoes at some of the negative reviews, and there were people complaining about how it's not like it defies logic and it's
See, I
not
think it's
believable.
well, it's
It's like
fucking
it's
surrealism.
like wait a minute. Uh,
It's surrealism. It's not, it's supposed to defy logic. It's supposed to be set in a fantasy world, yet everything that happens is it's still relatable. Because essentially, his marriage starts to fall apart because they don't have enough time for each other, because he's too busy out looking for a job and can't give her the love and affection that she needs, and their marriage crumbles. That's what happens. So it's actually, if you strip all away all the surrealism, it's actually a very straightforward story underneath. It's just instead of, him getting a normal job, he gets a job heating ray guns with chromed acorns. You know what I mean? It's just replace that with him getting a job at, like,
Radio Shack.
yeah, Radio Shack at the Shack. It's the same thing. It's just you take the monotony of reality and just switch it into something fun.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. It's I think that maybe the biggest thing that people are having a problem with is not necessarily the over the top surrealist imagery, but the amount of it, the
Yeah.
breakneck pace with
Well,
which the craziness is happening in this movie.
yeah, because you can definitely, I would imagine that if those people read the original novel, they would have the same qualms. Like they wouldn't like the original novel because by the sound of it, Gondry keeps pretty true to the novel.
Mm.
So I mean, the novel itself is extremely surrealist and just nonstop surrealism throughout.
So you gave this a 10 out of 10. I am going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Ooh,
I
boy.
I love this movie. I thought it was, even though I think that this story was a little bit lacking, and I thought that the characters were a little bit lacking too. I wasn't really that infatuated with either character. Like I felt like I didn't know a lot about them. There wasn't a lot to latch on to, especially Audrey Tautou. I didn't feel like I knew enough about her to
Mm.
care that she has a plant growing in her lungs. I felt like there wasn't enough time spent with them before this tragedy struck.
Now, see, that's again, well, again, maybe it was because I was more enthralled with the story. Because I'm the opposite. I thought that I really connected with the characters. So when the dramatic shift in mood sort of comes about, it affected me a lot more. It seems like than it did you.
Yeah, it didn't really evoke any kind of emotional response from me whatsoever. Which is funny because normally movies do that. I am easily manipulated by movies. I gave Wish I Was Here 7.5 out of 10. So because of that,
Yeah.
I am very easily manipulated by movies. But for whatever reason, this one didn't. It didn't really do that for me. I guess there wasn't a very strong connection, and maybe on a rewatch that will happen. I think a lot of times it just has to do with your mindset and when you go
Yeah.
into a movie like that.
I just find it really interesting the way that it's sort of structured in the surrealist world. How, like I said, it's just, standard love story that starts out full of passion and excitement and they're just ignorant to the world around them because they're so infatuated with each other. And then life gets in the way and it just sort of falls apart. And I like that. I like that story.
Go see it. Go see Mood Indigo. I think that fans of Michel Gondry will not be displeased with this one
I hope not.
because this is the most Michel Gondry movie I have ever seen.
It's the Gondriest.
It is the Gondriest Gondry movie that ever Gondried.
Yes, correct.
Let's
On all
move on.
fronts.
Go see
Go see it.
Mood Indigo. It's playing in select cities now.
And-
Don't let those
No,
don't
and then
let
go.
that Rotten Tomatoes score dissuade you from seeing this
That's
movie.
right. And then go read some Boris Beyond too.
If you're into whimsy and dreamlike visuals that are really out there and fun and goofy, just go see it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's move on to our next review. The Reconstruction of William Zero. Now, this is premiering at this year's Fantasia Fest in Montreal. This is written and directed by Dan Bush, and it stars Conal Byrne and Amy Seimetz. I have a synopsis here. A geneticist wakes up from an accident with only fragments of his memory, is forced to relearn who he is via his twin brother. But as he digs deeper, he discovers he might not be who he thought at all.
Oof, 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 oof.
So, Kevin, what did you think of the Reconstruction of William Zero? Now, this is going to be a really hard movie to talk about without giving
It's
things away.
it's oh, this is a tough one because I initially liked it, like right off the bat. As the story grew, I found it very interesting. I wanted to see where it was going to go, but it just didn't really seem to go anywhere, unfortunately. And it just sort of kept redoing or rediscussing prior points that it's already made, and it just kind of got boring after a while, a little dull.
I
And I
will.
don't really understand any of the characters' motivations, like
It's
what they
it.
were trying to accomplish.
It all seems very drastic, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like,
it's
like the decisions that he makes, you're just like, man, he is really. I mean, for what? you know?
yeah, like why? It also just seems like a lot of work
Yeah. Like
for nothing
you
to happen.
essentially want to get away, and this is how you do it. you know, like
Yeah, I don't quite understand that. And I found it odd, but I also enjoyed it a little bit is that, in the synopsis that you just read, it said that he woke up from an accident and they sort of go through that when he wakes up and he explains the accident and everything. And then like 5 minutes later,
oh
they
yeah.
just they
Well,
throw all that out
and
of the
that
way.
was the thing.
And they tell him exactly what happened.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like
It's like,
with it,
why?
like before they even did the reveal, I knew. I mean,
Yeah,
like
right off the
right
bat.
off the bat, you know what it is. It's not a secret. It's not a spoiler or anything. And so within like the first 2 minutes, I knew what was going on. But I was like, I really hope that that's not the big reveal of
I,
this movie
that's
because
that's why I said I liked it because I was worried because I was like, well, number one, your execution of it is terrible. So I hope that you don't try and
and yeah,
keep this
I
for
was
the entire
very
movie.
glad when they got that out of the way and kind of let the viewer know like no, this isn't the secret. This isn't
Yeah,
what's going on here.
yeah. It's
So
more so of why is he doing this?
right, right. And then there's another pretty big twist at the very end as well.
Yeah, which I didn't quite understand that at all. Maybe I
Yeah.
missed something. I must have missed something because that didn't make any sense to me.
I
But anyways,
I liked the overall I liked it. I thought that it was kind of a fun indie sci-fi movie. The thing about it is it makes you think to a certain degree, but it's almost as if Dan Bush doesn't want you to think that much. Like he wants to do some of the thinking for you.
yeah,
So
there's several scenes where
there's a
Colonel
lot
Byrne
of
just walks you through it,
right, yeah.
unfortunately.
There's a lot of scenes where he'll be having a conversation and we'll be seeing how it transpired and all that stuff on the screen while it's done in voiceover, and a lot of the stuff gets spelled out for
Yeah.
you, which some of it I'm okay with.
I'm okay with
And
it, but the only problem I had with, that sort of dispensing of information is I just thought it was done too often.
right,
It was just like anytime there's like, okay, we got to get a large chunk of this information out of here, like this backstory, what happened. Okay, let's have him break into a voiceover narration and we'll just put some shots in of the past,
Yeah, I
and
mean they do it
that's
like
how we'll handle it.
they probably do it like maybe 3 times
Yeah, I
throughout the
just thought
movie, and
it's
it
just done a
always
bit too much.
happens like right after there's a twist that occurs. So it's like
Yeah,
it doesn't. It almost, to me, it felt like you're not giving me enough time to figure this out on my own. You
no,
know what I mean? Like there'll be something happens in the movie, and while I'm piecing it together myself, it's like, oh wait, you're not thinking fast enough. Here's what it is.
it's like a record scratch.
This is
Let
what
me
it
just
is. Yeah.
let me just explain to you real quick what happened. It's
Now
like,
I
can I
don't
figure
know.
it out on my own first? Maybe.
So we were given a screener of this, so I don't know if was an issue with the screener, but I thought that the sound mixing was really poorly done, and
Well,
it,
that was something that I wanted to ask you is like what because this is playing at the festival is like what at what point is this movie at
yeah,
like
well, they didn't.
production wise because yeah I had some issues with the audio too, and also there was a couple scenes where people would come to the main character's house, and when they would have the camera from inside the house facing out, it looked green screened. It looked very bizarre. Like when Silence comes to the door, like everything behind her looks extremely fake.
Yeah, I don't know if this was some sort of rough cut or what that we saw. They didn't give me any indication that this was a rough cut, and normally they do let us know that that's the case.
Yeah.
If this is the final product, the sound mixing is really poor. The
Mm.
like a lot of it just sounds 80 yard, and the it doesn't seem natural, doesn't feel natural, especially anytime they're outside having conversations. It all sounds like it was done in voiceover, and it wasn't mixed well.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't want to knock the movie if they aren't finished with that yet, but the version that I saw,
That's something that they
it
need
was
to
a
work
problem.
at least.
Like
Fix.
it was a real problem.
Go ahead and fix that if you could. Now, on the other hand, I thought the performances were actually
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
solid.
That was, I mean, Amy Seimetz. You and I are both big fans of hers. I think that she's great in everything that she's in, and William, played by Conal Byrne, I thought he was great. Even at the very beginning, I could tell that this guy was going to put a good performance. The scene where he first woke up and he was crying and they told the joke and stuff, like I thought that was great.
It was fantastic, and I love how he essentially plays three characters in this,
Right.
and I like how for each character he just put in like little nuances
I
so
think.
that they're three separate characters yet they're the same at the.
Hmm.
It was interesting to see how he did that. I
I
did
do
enjoy it.
want to come back to that in just a second, but for people that see this movie that are familiar with the show Orphan Black, there's a lot of similarities going on with that, and unfortunately, Orphan Black handles everything in a much better
Better.
way.
See, I didn't have any knowledge of Orphan Black, so
Of course, Orphan Black is a TV series. They have the time to develop the characters, and they have more time to work with how it all works and stuff like that. But
yeah.
it was done pretty well. I don't know what we're looking at as far as budget, but I thought that they did a really good job of making us believe that it was two different people in the same
Yes.
shot.
Yes.
And I don't know how they do that these days with technology, but Orphan Black does it too. To me it's incredible. Like
It still blows my mind anytime there's a shot of the same
yeah,
person,
and I'm sure that it's
two of
very
them.
like I'm sure these days it's really simple. Like it's
I know, but it still blows
the
me away.
composited or something, but it was just really impressive how you can see, because I remember like back in the day when it would be the same person on screen, like you'd have to be really careful about how close they were to each other,
Yeah.
like standing, and you could almost never do scenes where they actually contact one another, like if they hug or shake hands or whatever, and if they did, you'd have to cut it so that they could use a body double. But these days, Man,
These people are doing it left and right.
yeah.
They're just throwing it in movies that don't even need it sometimes. But I still like freak out like a little kid when it happens. I
Hmm.
don't know why. Like I'm always gonna be amazed by it.
You got to
I
see
just like I throw
you
my
have to
hands
see
up in the
Orphan
air
Black then.
and I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that?
In Orphan Black, they do it, but with like 4 characters
Magic.
that are all the same person. And it's incredible.
It's fucking magic in the screen. How do they do it?
It's the magic of movies, Kevin.
Oh my God.
It's a beautiful thing.
Movies are wonderful.
Now I want to talk about. We basically just the Orphan Black comment basically gave away what's going on in this movie. But again, I don't think that is the reveal. I don't think that's
It's
the
kind of
spoiler.
weird because there doesn't really seem to be anything in this movie that comes across as a reveal, at least to me anyways, when I was watching it.
Well,
Nothing was, it's sort of presented as like this big reveal.
well, you can figure out because they make sure that you know about the different specimens and what's happening to them, so
Yeah.
you can easily piece it together.
Well, plus, I mean, you can sort of do it with just the guy plays 3 characters and he's a geneticist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like that right there sort of spoils it for you. You kind of know.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about, and this is just kind of a question I wanted to pose to you, because it was something I was thinking about as I was watching this movie, because it is kind of a love story too.
Hmm.
In a way, it was about his relationship with his wife, played by Amy Seimetz, and a tragedy that occurred in their past. But they're still married, but they're separated. If you think so, if you implant someone with memories,
Hmm. Hmm.
do you think the emotion would carry over into that as well?
Ah, I don't.
Because
I
that
don't
was
think
one of the
so.
things that I was wondering about as I was watching the movie, and it was something that
No,
I never thought about before.
I'm not really sure, but to me, it would seem as though you could implant those memories, and they sort of show you how they do it, where he goes through everything with them, sort of almost like a class on himself.
Hmm.
But you would think that those synapses that are created for those memories aren't as strong as they would be with the original because you've had, 35 years or whatever to develop those synapses and then to strengthen
Right.
them with new memories and the emotions that were with you at that time when that memory was
And that's
created.
the thing.
You wouldn't have that, I don't think.
I'm wondering if when it carries over, if the emotions that were attached to those memories also carry over. In other words, can you clone love? And
I don't think you can.
that was like the one kind of burning question that I was pondering as I was watching this movie, and I think it's really interesting because I never thought about something like that before.
I did find it also interesting that of the two, that they're different. He's getting different
Well,
results with them. Like
yeah,
the one guy's really nice,
right.
and the other guy is
But you also have
not
to look.
not so much.
We also have to look at how they kind of came to be and what happened
Yes,
to
exactly.
those
And how they
versions,
were.
because one of them was terrible. What happened to him?
Yeah, he had a bit of a rough go with it.
Yeah. Another thing that I was wondering is how's their hair the same? Exact same haircut?
Exact same haircut. Yeah, really. Maybe he
But I
cut
mean,
it while
what
he
can
was
he cut
sleeping.
hair? Is he
Probably, dude.
does the
Probably.
hair grow to be the exact same? I just that was another question I had. The hair. What's going on? And the other thing I noticed, it's just a weird little thing. I thought was cool. The microscope that they use in the movie, I have that exact microscope.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you?
My girlfriend's birthday was the end of May, and she wanted a microscope for her birthday. so,
What does she want a
so I
microscope
got
for?
this like super nice like LED microscope, and it was the exact one that was in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know why she wanted a microscope. She just wanted to look at stuff.
Is she doing a lot of lab work? Does
Uh,
she work? Does she work with Ryan on stuff?
maybe she's got like a basement lab hidden in a closet.
That'd be funny if she does, because Ryan has all those
Yeah,
centrifuges.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe
That's
she's
that's
working with him
interesting.
on something.
Microscopes. I also enjoyed back to the movie. The there's several scenes of I thought perfectly executed comedy. For whatever reason, they just the way that they were delivered, I just thought was hilarious. Like when him not knowing how to eat cereal.
Oh yeah, that was
He
funny.
he brought that up a couple times. And another thing that I don't understand is he wants the other guy to sort of take over for him, and he tells him, you got to go to work. If,
Hmm.
but he knows nothing about science, so that's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. That,
Like,
that was the other thing. I was like, well,
they're
how's this
gonna,
guy going to go to work as a geneticist? It'd be one thing if he was a janitor or something that is
but
a skill that's really easy to learn.
it's funny because he gave him all these memories, but he didn't, give him like a precursory, like run through of genetics. Like if you
Well,
really
you
want
would
this guy to
also,
take over for you, wouldn't you give him just like a crash course real quick of
well,
like,
I mean,
okay, these are the experiments that we're running, and this is what we're running into. Because he gets there and they're like, the dogs. He's like, dogs?
yeah.
What? What do you mean? It's like, well, that didn't work.
And also, you'd think that he would at least tell him who the people are in his
Yeah.
life. Like, oh, this is what's the guy's name? Baxter? Is that his
Yeah.
name? Yeah, this is Baxter. You work with him in the lab. This is, this person, that person. Just give
Yeah.
him a little bit to go on here.
This person is your boss. Something to work with. Because that falls apart as soon as he goes into work.
Yeah, and he looks like a fucking idiot. Oh boy. All right. The
Good stuff.
Reconstruction of William Zero. Final thoughts?
It's interesting, um, but I thought the motivations are lacking. Like, I don't really understand why any of this is happening.
It's funny.
And for the most part, it seems like the characters themselves don't understand why any of this is happening.
It's funny because this is the exact way that I felt about another Dan Beers directed movie, The Signal, which came out. It's not that Signal, the new one. It's another
No one.
Signal.
Damn Bush.
Yeah. He directed one of the parts. That movie was like told in 3 parts. He directed one of them.
Gotcha.
It was cool. It was a cool movie, but I felt kind of the same way about this movie. I am going to score The Reconstruction of William Zero a I didn't write down a score previously before doing this, so
Oh, on the fly.
I'm gonna say 6.
6?
I'm a 5.5 or a 6. But I'll say 6.
I know. I'm flipping back and forth on 5 and 6. So I'm gonna say that it's a 5-6
Okay,
or 6-5. 5-6 or 6-5. One or the other.
there we go. I still recommend checking it out if you're into these kind of indie sci-fis. It was
Correct.
fun. It was
Yeah,
interesting.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I wish it would have been developed a little bit more. But for what it is, pretty solid.
Yeah, I wish that they wouldn't have telegraphed a lot of it to
That
us.
was the biggest problem that I had. I just don't like when movies do that. It's insulting. Stop it.
I agree. All right, let's talk about some predictions. The Purge Anarchy, you said 42, I said 52, actual 53.
Mm.
And Sex Tape, you said 8, I said 24, actual 19.
Who liked this? Who liked this? I want answers.
Actually, it looks like it has 20 now since I marked it down.
Who liked
Uh,
this?
David
David
Edelstein.
Edelstein. Are you kidding me,
David Edelstein, wow.
Wow.
He hates a lot. He doesn't like a lot of stuff. I'm surprised that he liked this.
Unbelievable.
Leonard Maltin liked it, of course.
What, does Leonard Maltin never not like a movie?
Usually, if
Yeah, I mean, he likes Snow Dogs, didn't he?
yeah. Usually, if it's shitty, he likes it. I'm sure that he's looking at those with different,
But
from a
it's
different
also,
perspective.
I also gotta say, I didn't read his review. His review could probably actually be
Right. Yeah.
because with Rotten Tomatoes, it's kind of pointless, really, because you'll see the tomato beside it, and then you read the little blurb that they have. It's like, well, that's not positive at all.
Yeah, and then you read the full review and you're like, okay, well, clearly he didn't like this movie at all.
Yeah, it's like, why is this a fresh?
Yeah. All right. Next week we have Hercules. The Brett Ratner directed version of Hercules.
God.
This looks so bad. I'm so sick of these trailers too. Oh Lord.
Boy.
What are you thinking on Hercules?
I'm thinking 18.
I'll say 20. We also have Luc Besson's Lucy next week.
It looks kind of interesting.
I'm interested, but at the same time, give me a break. I mean, I think that if you can control 100% of your brain, yes, you can probably do some crazy shit, but like the changing your eye color, your hair color, controlling time, like I don't see that happening.
You would not be able to do that.
I don't think you could control time.
In all honesty, I think if someone was able to possess 100% of the brain, they would probably commit suicide.
Probably.
I think it would just be too much.
It would be like, you never saw Watchmen, did you?
No.
It'd be like the one guy in Watchmen can like control all of his brain, and
I do like that there's some people in this one. Got
I'm gonna go see it.
Insik Choi and Palo from what was that? What was the movie that was like hijacking? Yeah, the cook from Hijacking.
Yeah, which I haven't seen.
Well, get on that.
I know, just
Jesus.
Some of them fall through the cracks for me. Okay, I can't see everything.
That's true.
So Lucy, I'm gonna say, oh man, I'll say 52.
I'm gonna say 54.
In limited release next week, we have the Fluffy movie.
Oh God.
Ugh.
Oh boy.
Ugh.
Oh boy.
And So It Goes, which I saw a trailer for this. I don't remember what movie I was seeing, but I saw it in the theater. Worst trailer I've ever seen. It is so bad. You should watch the trailer for And So It Goes, because it is terrible.
I don't know if I want to.
Well, you'll laugh.
It's Rob Reiner?
Yeah.
What?
Michael Douglas? Yeah. And it looks so terrible.
Oh my.
A Most Wanted Man also comes out in limited release.
About time.
Magic in the Moonlight, the latest Woody Allen movie.
Which seemed to just pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because like every other one of his movies, that's what happens. They'll just kind of come in and then leave. Because he comes out with a movie every year, so
yeah,
it's like every other year, one will pop up and just kind of disappear. It's weird. Happy Christmas, Very Good Girls, The Kill Team, which I'm interested in, Come Back to Me, and Beneath, all limited release. Video on demand next week, we have Made in America, Skanks, which I love that title. It's actually a documentary about a musical. I can't remember what festival that premiered, but I remember we got a screener for it, and I didn't have time to watch it, so I didn't get to see it.
Documentary about amateur actors creating a drag musical in small town Alabama. Wow.
Looks interesting. We also have The Damned and Come Back to Me. Not a very good week.
It's not much coming out.
Yeah, not a very good week for VOD. On DVD and Blu-ray, however, there's a ton of stuff. We have All Cheerleaders Die, which is the Lucky McKee one that I didn't like, that everybody else seems to like. The Angriest Man in Brooklyn, which I think everybody hates. Blue Ruin, which you should definitely see if you haven't yet.
Yes.
Cesar Chavez. That was one that kind of also didn't really make many waves.
No.
Dom Hemingway, another one that kind of came and went. That's the one with
I'm slightly interested in that one.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Trailers didn't do it for me. Heaven is for Real. I know you're interested in that one. Sabotage.
You know, I'm actually just waiting for all these religious movies to come out on DVD, and I'm just going to scoop all of them up, take a day off work, and then just binge watch all of them at the same time.
Purify yourself. That sounds good.
Yep.
Sabotage, which is the David Ayer one with Arnold.
Okay.
I don't think it got very good reviews. The Suspect, which is premiering at Fantasia. Well, it's not premiering, but it's next screening at Fantasia Fest. I will be seeing that probably this week or next week. And Tyler Perry's The Single Moms Club.
Oh, okay. Sure. He's still a thing, huh?
Well, he's in Gone Girl.
That's right, he is.
I think he's a good actor. I just think that his stuff is just not good.
It's just overkill.
It's just pandering to his fans at this point. But any criterions?
Oh, we have two. We have two criterions. One is a Blu-ray re-release of Insomnia, the original Insomnia movie, and a box set, a Demi box set, which has my favorite, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg in there.
Oh boy.
Got that bad boy in there. This is 6 movies. 6 movies from the 60s, 70s, and one from 82. So fans of that umbrella bullshit movie, enjoy.
I think that will wrap it up.
We wrapped it.
We wrapped it up. Send us your questions to podcast@filmpulse.net. We'll be sure to answer them on the show. Follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And be sure to rate us on iTunes. We appreciate that very much. FilmPulse.net. My name's Adam.
And I am Kevin.
And we'll see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches a Movie.
Did you ever hear of a wish sandwich?
Sorry, I was just going through Leonard Maltin's.
I'm doing the exact same thing with David Epstein.
We're just going to stop the show for like 10 minutes to go through Leonard Maltin's
Got
reviews.
sidetracked.